and oh,
You good?
but she, I mean, I helped her in the very beginning, and she's only making like $800 a month. And she said, Darrell, I gotta get, and her son helps her out, and he's on disability. She's in her 70s. And I said, ma'am, Miss Sharon, we've got to get you some final expense. You have nothing in place right now, and your son don't have the money to do it. Then she said, well, I need mortgage protection. I need mortgage protection. I said, dear, listen to me very carefully. I'm here to help you. You can't afford no more. And she said, well, I can afford $200 more. I said, no, you can't. And so lo and behold, she got into a bad spot, and she couldn't make payments on one. And she called me up crying, what am I going to do? And all this. And so we had to start back off over with her. And I said, listen, if you will listen to me, we will help you. I'm here to help you, not hurt you. And so we had to find that. We even had to do a budget plan for her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of, sometimes we have to do budgets for our clients.
Yeah.
Because some of our clients don't know how to budget. And so I worked out a plan for her, and she's back on track. So little things like that. If I see somebody that's got, and right now in this economy that we're in, there's sometimes, Jermaine, that I say, okay, how much is your water? How much is your electricity? How much? I mean, I wanted to see what they're at, so what they can afford.
Yeah.
So they can get some. Now, if they're smoking, I calculate how many packs of cigarettes they're smoking a month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you would just stop smoking or cut back on your smoking, I mean, you could probably save yourself $200 to $300 a month just on cigarettes. And for those of you that smoke, this is nothing towards you, but just, I mean,
quit, Terry, quit.
Yeah. So I mean, when you're looking at packs of cigarettes at $6, $7 a pack.
Yeah, it adds up.
It does.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember I had one appointment where the guy was trying to tell me no on a $50-something a month policy, and he had a bottle of Hennessy sitting on the countertop. So I was like, how much that bottle cost? He's like, oh yeah, about $45. Oh, how many of those you drink a month? Oh, about 3 of those. I'm like, okay. So can we cut out a bottle of Hennessy so your daughter can have some insurance if you die? I see what you're saying. Go ahead, sign me up.
I mean, you use that as leverage.
Yeah, 100%. So those context clues you can see it in the house. And it's funny what you said about serving your clients. I sat with a client yesterday. She had 8 policies for each one of her grandkids, and she thought she had 4 policies on her husband. And then I think she thought she had 3 policies on herself, and turns out to be just 1 policy on her husband and 1 policy on herself. The other 2 or 3 or whatever had lapsed. But it took me about an hour and a half to go through and be able to call the insurance companies. Okay, is this still active? And it wasn't about necessarily, I'm there to, provide a service and make a commission, but it was more of making sure, she knew what her coverage was and what we need to add on to it. So
Exactly.
It's about serving the people. That's good, because that's crucial. And I think because of the ups and downs of this business, if you have that mindset, you can go through it because you just stay level. And it's like, how many people can I serve? I think there's a phrase by Zig Ziglar that's like, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Exactly.
And I think if you do approach your business that way, opposed to what can I get, what can I get?
Yep.
You'll be able to get what you want just by helping enough people. So talk a little bit. So 300,000 a year in that 2020, that's 2020. 2019. Hey y'all. 300 families, 300,000. And then Hall of Fame the next year.
Yes.
So what was what was that schedule like that first year you hit over 300,000 to allow you to do that?
That 2019 was still a learning curve, because the first year of 2019 was when the chargebacks really hit me hard. And I'm like, Amy Mickelson's hitting Hall of Fame, why can't I? I'm like, and I was trying to figure it out. Well, it's a numbers game. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so once I started serving the families,
Okay.
And then I started throwing out $2,000 to $2,500 a week in leads.
Okay.
Then it doesn't matter how many leads you have. I can have 100 leads, but they may be only $500. It's all about the dollar amount. I have realized the more money you put into your business, the more you're going to get back out of it. And that is the hardest thing for new agents to realize, because they're scared to spend money, and scared money don't make money.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing right there. And new agents have got to put all in. So once I got myself to build myself up to $2,000 a week, I was averaging, then towards the end, I was 2,000, 2,500, maybe some weeks 3,000, because not including my lockdown counties. Then I was buying CRM leads. I was doing all sorts of stuff. I mean, there was some months I was doing $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 that year doing all that. And I was running 25, 30 plus appointments a week.
Okay. Makes
And
sense.
it was all a numbers game.
Yeah.
And I was just going, put my head down. I really wasn't looking at my numbers of what was coming in per month. And when I got that busy, I'm like, this is really not that bad.
Yeah. Isn't it funny?
It is. I'm like, this is not that hard, but like you said, it's a mind thing. And so many people really get caught up. It's like, I can't do that. And we talked earlier about, we put limits on ourselves. And once you take the limits off and just go,
Yeah.
I mean, the sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit.
I mean, everything is go. So
It's funny though, because it's like you were saying, the more you invest in leads,
Yes.
the easier it actually becomes.
Yes.
Right. And then the more activity you put in, the easier it actually is. It's almost like riding a bike. If you're going slow on the bike, it's easier for you to tip over and lose your balance. But if you're going fast, you're good. You're like, you're balanced, you're enjoying the ride, the wind's blowing in your hair if you had to. But yeah. But it's so much, and I think you're right. That's where a lot of agents, and I was there, I was hesitant. Were you hesitant, or you kind of saw the formula and said, no, I'm just testing it out?
No, I was hesitant.
Okay.
Oh, I was scared to death, because I knew, I'm like, well, I got a house payment this week. Or actually at that time, I had rent payment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, rent payment, rent leads. And it was scary, because we were living week to week.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's, which I haven't missed too many meals, guys. I mean, y'all can, I'm very well rounded. I mean, but you've got to understand that I was scared to death to spend money.
Yeah.
I really was. But I mean, we had been in business in the past, and my dad's always said, you're not going to make money by not spending money. So we had to do it. But I had a tough time spending $500 a week. That scared me. But then when I started doing the 500, that 500 got me probably maybe $2,000 to $3,000. Then I turned around and reinvest it, took that money, reinvest it, and then it turned into gravy train.
Yeah.
Because then by the time I got to 2,000, 2,500, I was looking at, I mean, 15, 18,000 a week coming in. And it was about halfway through that year. I will say this, and I don't recommend this to everyone, because this is very tricky. I hired me $1, and I started paying that $1 to keep me busy on the road constantly.
Were you doing like the 4 days a week schedule that a lot of people run, or were you running like 5 days a week?
In the very beginning, I was running 5 days a week.
Okay.
And I realized then my body wasn't going to let me do that.
Not as young as you used to be.
No, I wasn't. But I'm like, how can I work smarter and not harder? And then once I realized and kept myself organized with leads, stay ahead of my lead purchase.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. I don't want to be behind the lead purchase, because that created more problems.
Yeah.
And I had to start diversifying. I remember one time that I ordered some leads from a lead vendor, and they didn't come in. It was supposed to be in 24 to 48 hours, and I didn't get none. Guess what? I didn't have no leads to run.
Didn't plan ahead.
Didn't plan ahead.
Yeah.
So we started planning ahead, starting getting the head of the game. I started purchasing leads on Sunday and Wednesday nights.
Okay.
To be prepared for those dial days. And then once we started doing that, then everything started opening up. I mean, then I do about $1,000 to $1,500 first part of the week, another $1,000 to maybe $1,500 the second part of the week. And so I broke it up. So from new agent standpoint, don't say, well, I gotta come up with $2,000. No, break it down. If you can spend, if you don't have a lot of money, break it down to 500 to 1,000, and then let that rotate. So you'll have those funds, because those funds will be back into your account, especially in America, within 12 to 24 hours.
Yeah, that's real fast.
I mean, it's real fast. So then you can take that money, reinvest it. And that's where it came into then I started seeing momentum kicking in.
That's true. And that's what I was going to ask you about, because I try to teach agents about that all the time. Like, try to put in the consistent activity, not try to put in the consistent activity to be able to get that momentum, because then things start getting easier once it becomes a habit. We've got an agent on here, Cameron, where about 5 weeks ago, he started just being the first on dial day, getting the dials kicked off and making sure he dials until he books, 12 to 15 appointments. And he's been consistent. And I was talking with him this morning. I'm like, man, how's that cash flow? And the first thing he did was laugh. I'm like, okay, that means it's good. Because once you have that consistency and that momentum on your side, and you just keep that going, man, it's amazing. And that's when it's like magic. It's like magic. So what did you do to keep the distractions out? Because I know we all have life. You're a parent, a grandparent, church, and all of that stuff. So how did you maintain the focus on your schedule and a consistent schedule without allowing distractions to get in the way? Or did you allow distractions to get in the way and had to recover and regain momentum?
You really had to compartmentalize everything. All right, to the point that when you leave your house, leave everything from your home life at home. You cannot take it with you. It's very difficult. There was times that I would be out on the road, and I'm being honest with you. I'd be driving down the road and just break down and start crying, because I brought my home life with me. And when you're in that situation that you got bills due, you're behind, all of a sudden you got a collection letter. I mean, all this stuff, and you're like, what am I going to do? Then you become commission breath, trying to go into the homes to try to sell something. It doesn't work. You've got to really break everything down, get your schedule in order, communicate with your spouse. And if you're not married, still keep a schedule.
Yeah.
On my schedule, my wife and I, my Google Calendar, we share that Google Calendar. When I've got something going on, I put it in. When she's got something going on, she knows my schedule when I'm going out, because we look at it. And I don't actually have a board that we write down on, because we've got the actual Google Calendar that we share each other. And so she knows what's going on. I know what's going on. We help each other out. And, but once I got the momentum going, to be honest with you, Jermaine, the distractions, it was like, oh, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
I no longer allowed it to bother me. And in the beginning, it was the roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Emotions, high, low. And the more I got into it, then that mellowed out. And I started looking at my banking account.
That's a motivation factor right there.
And it really changes when you really get into it and you start seeing 20, 30, 40, $50,000 in your bank account. That changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is it like that for everybody? No. But I've realized, and I think Mike Killamette said it best. He said, I'm not looking at just the job part of it. I'm looking at the business part of it to grow a massive team.
Yeah.
And I want to follow what John Wetmore, Mike Killamette, you're doing a great job, and all these other guys that have really been good mentorship. Jeremy has helped me out a lot. And then it's when we get in that position that we are no longer put ourselves in a box and we're outside that box, and to see what's more to life than what's going on.
Yeah.
You're much freer and happier. And now it doesn't come with problems. We've all have our problems.
Yeah.
We've all got heartaches and family issues and all that comes with it. But you just got to somehow or another push that aside.
Put that aside, stay focused and put the family first, you
Yeah.
know, when you're getting out there. And I think to your point about buying leads, it's like, one, it is a numbers game. You get, you invest in the leads and then you look at it as like, okay, these are families that actually need help. So I need to go ahead and work and resolve these leads. And then by default, then the account starts adding up.
Yeah.
And building up. So.
Well, when I got in my $15,000 problem, and I did, I basically called Mike Killiman and whined to him. I mean, I did. I'm honest about that. And he said, Darrell, the best way for you to get out of this situation is just go to work.
Yeah.
You can work your way out of this, but sitting back and doing nothing, whining and complaining, that doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah.
Go to work, buy leads and everything. And I mean, he helped me out a lot during that 2019 hard time. I mean, it was a struggle. I had to figure a lot of it out on my own.
Yeah.
Because I was bullheaded and I was stubborn. Yeah. I mean, I think we all are at one point in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a little pride gets in the way, and we just got to push pride out of the way and be vulnerable and really go out and serve and help families. And it all works out.
And it's funny, one of the things I'm hearing is that you were reaching out to get help.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I think agents struggle with is, you know, we'll reach out sometimes, like you're saying, being bullheaded and, you know, what would you say to kind of encourage, you know, agents as far as, hey, you know, how often they should be reaching out or when they should be reaching out for help, for advice, for some guidance?
All the time. If you're not communicating with Jermaine or your direct upline or Shane or ever who it is, shame on you, because you can't do this by yourself. You cannot do this by yourself. This is a team effort, and we win as a team. But if I do this by myself, like I was trying to do in the early part of 2019, I started falling. And I can't do this. Once I got in a mindset of saying, okay, where can I get help from? It is good. You can grow as a team, but you'll fall apart individually. It's tough. It really is tough because you need support from your fellow agents, your upline. You don't know how many people that we have talked off the ledge every week because they're ready to jump. Am I right, Jeremy? I mean, it happens all the time. They're going, what am I going to do? I'm like, all right, first of all, let's stop whining. Let's break it down. So there's different things. I was there. I was the whiner. I was the complainer.
You were on the ledge.
I was on the ledge. I was. But I can take what my experience is and try to help someone else. So if you're not reaching out to Jermaine, your upline, and getting involved in this, right here, if you're not involved, you're not going to make it.
Yeah,
you got to jump in.
Yeah, that is so true. That's so powerful. And the challenge with that is, you know, where I used to say when I'm recruiting, I used to say, hey, man, the great thing about this is that you're an independent agent. The worst thing about this is that you're an independent agent.
That's right.
Because, you know, at times, you know, you definitely want to exercise that independence. When it comes to product training, you need to exercise your independence and call the carriers and find out about the products. But then if it's, you know, a situation where you're not seeing the results after running multiple appointments, or you're dialing and you're just getting shut down and, you know, you're just not being able to book enough appointments, then you need to reach out and get some help. And it's like a balance,
it is,
you know, that we have to have in what we do, to be able to be successful and being willing to be vulnerable, being humble, and ask for help. And I know it's different because a lot of us come from backgrounds where, we're not encouraged to ask for help. You need to know what you're doing and get your job done. That's what you're getting paid to do. Whereas here, there's so much support.
You gotta be
For-
coachable.
Yeah, that's it.
Gotta be
Coachable.
coachable. And there was a period of time I wasn't coachable.
I'm glad you can admit that, man. That's huge.
I mean, I wasn't coachable.
Yeah.
I wasn't. And, but I try to listen to other people. I enjoy our conversations, you and I, Shane, and some of these others, Jeremy. I love that because I'm learning.
Yeah.
I have realized in my old age that I don't know as much as I think I know. And once you get to that point, you're gonna start growing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny because everybody always says, hey, Jermaine, you have a good question. I just know I don't know a lot and I want to know what I don't know.
That's right.
And the only way to find out is by asking questions.
Right.
So, because if I already knew it, I'd be an integrity partner, with thousands of agents. But I
Right.
just, obviously there's some stuff I still don't know because I'm not there yet. Because if I knew it, I'd be applying it.
But we're gonna fail, aren't
Oh,
we?
yeah,
We're gonna make
absolutely.
mistakes.
Yeah, yeah.
You
And-
have, I have,
Yeah,
and we're gonna do it. Now, is everybody gonna grow at the same level? No,
No.
they're not.
that's true.
I mean, Mike has always said, your time's gonna come when that time's right. And we're just gonna keep plowing along.
Yeah, you touched on something there about failure. I'm making notes here. Because I think that's important. And guys, a lot of times, when we have these type of conversations, yeah, we'll go over the X's and O's, your phone script, your in-home, but a big part of this business is mindset. It's like if your mind is not right, no matter what you do, right? If your attitude isn't right, your approach isn't right, you're not going to have success because mindset's a huge thing. I like to say what we do is like an athlete. They could be talented, but if their mindset isn't right, we know a lot of athletes that don't make it to the high levels because they don't have the right mindset. And it's the same thing with this business. So, being open to fail is so huge in my experience in this business, because that's the only way to succeed. And it's to me, it's so backwards. Like,
Sure.
but I think it's also a life lesson too, because in life, success is through failure. So what does that mean to you when you're saying, hey, being willing to fail? And what should that mean to like a new agent?
Be willing to accept the fact that you're not gonna be perfect and you're not gonna do everything right and you're gonna make mistakes. So hurry up and fall so you can learn from your mistakes to be able to grow.
Yeah.
So if we could, I know this sounds strange, but you need to fail successfully to succeed.
You got to get good at failing.
That's right. Exactly. And don't let it get you down. I mean, when I started really failing, I got depressed. I mean, I'm gonna tell everybody this. There's a point in my life that, and I've told Jeremy this, I wanted to commit suicide. And because I was so down and out, and I thought my life is over, my family's all screwed up. But God's got a better plan.
Amen.
And taking your own life is not the answer. That's not the key. You just gotta get up, brush yourself off, and go on. Yeah. And we're gonna make it.
Yeah.
We are going to do it. I will get an integrity deal.
Yeah.
I'm prophetically saying it today that I will get one. When? I don't have that answer. I don't know when, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But if you're willing, I am going to go and get 30 appointments this week. You're going to get 25 or 30 appointments this week. My goal was in 2020 to do $10,000 a week. That was my submit goal. Was all of those going to get approved? No. Was I going to lose a lot of those clients through chargebacks? Yes. I realized after the $15,000 charge, I've never had another $15,000 chargeback. Never.
Yeah.
Because I learned my lesson on that. But I came to the conclusion chargebacks are going to happen.
Yep.
Just go out and work it. I had a $7,000 chargeback, but I had it paid off in 3 days
Because you're working.
because I was working.
Yeah.
And I had money back in the account in the 4th day. And so it wasn't like weeks.
Yeah.
you know, if I had a $15,000 charge back now, I'm like, okay, no big deal. Let's go to work.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you mean by embracing the failure,
Yes.
you know, in all those situations, because a lot of times agents are like hesitant to pull the trigger. And I have this conversation like, hey man, we just need to get on the phone. We just need to get going. And it's like, oh no, I need to do this. I need to do that.
No,
But that's
no.
gonna hold you up.
That's right.
And then continuing to challenge yourself and then embracing that as you grow, because we got a lot of agents here that aren't new.
Mhm.
So what do you say to them that, you know, whether, you know, they're been here for a while, haven't hit
Okay.
their goals, kind of what do you say to them?
I would say examine your own life, examine your work ethics, and say, what can I do better? What is my weakest point? And if you need help with that, I'm sure Jermaine would sit down and talk with you. And let me tell you something, Jermaine is excellent.
I don't know about that.
No. I really, and I can say this for Jeremy too. You can sit down and talk with these gentlemen, and Shane, I can't say this about you because you and I have not had this type of conversation, but I can say for these two, they will, and Mike Killen's good at, they will help you find your weakest points that you can work on them. What is my weakest point? Well, how many leads are you doing? How many leads are you buying a week? How many dials are you doing? You know, Jeremy's told me time and time again, is your agents got a dial sheet tracker? Are they tracking their dials? You can grade somebody by looking at your dial trackers. And they're like, wow, I've been dialing all day long. I'm like, but you've only got 50 dials? All right, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
There's a problem. So that's a weakness. So we got to find where the weakness is to improve on it. You need to strive to be better every day. And if you've been doing this for a little bit and you feel like you're still in that rut, we've got to figure out, what can I do better? Is it my in-home presentation? Hey, come in, go with Jermaine, say, hey, let's work on my in-home. Let's do a mock. What am I doing wrong? Get with other people around. Find out what may be the problem. Get on the YouTube channel for Family First Life. There's probably thousands of videos out there just trying to learn to get better. Maybe you're spending too much time on social media while you're trying to dial. Maybe you texting too many people while you're trying to dial. Sometimes you just got to focus and get down and go to work.
Yeah, no, 100%. And when you mentioned something earlier about comparison, and I think Shane has said this before, I'm gonna butcher it, but like comparison is the thief of joy. Is that something? I think you've said that at some point. Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say. Like, are you looking at, you know, Hall of Fame 2 years in a row? Is it more of like, hey, I gotta, you know, be as good as this guy or this girl? Or is it more of, hey, I want to just be the best version of myself?
I'm a very competitive person, and I love competing against myself, number one, and I love competing against other people. But I love being Hall of Fame. That's great. That's wonderful. But I don't want to be an agent in my 60s still out fighting for Hall of Fame on my own pen. Yeah, I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand that.
Huh? Thank you. I appreciate that. Shane, you're the same age as I am. But you need to compete, but it's really time to start building a legacy.
I like that.
We need to build a legacy, not just for you, but also for your family. I think if you're only trying to take care of yourself now, you're not planning for the future. So how do you do that? You made mention of it today. Shane made mention of it today. We need to go out and hire at least one new agent a week. And everybody in your downline needs to go hire one new agent every week. Yeah. And everybody will explode. If we can just do one one each. And I'll be honest with you, my mindset is transitioning because my goal now is I'm not too much worried about me making Hall of Fame, which I would love to do that. It's not a big deal. I want to build a team. You're doing 500,000, right? A month for you and your whole team.
Yeah.
I want to beat you.
All right, let's go.
All right. I mean, I love you, brother. I really do. But I want to see my team do 500, 600, 700. That's where you really make a statement and you can change lives, not only in yours and your family's life, but your agents' lives and your family's lives.
Yeah.
That's where it changes. Are we happy with the mediocre doing our little bit each week? My mindset has gone to the point that I want to be another John Wetmore. I want to be another Mike Tillman, Andrew Taylor. I want to get to their point. It's not about, I want to make $50,000 a year. No, I'm beyond that point. I want us to get to the point that Jermaine's team, and I'm gonna be thrilled for him, and that you guys are doing $100 million a year.
That sounds good. Speak it.
Let's do it. That's what we need to strive for. We don't need to, when I say we're doing 100,000 or 200,000 or 500,000, Jermaine, that's pennies.
Yeah.
Of what we really can do.
Yeah. And that's the key. It's the potential. I was listening to this podcast the other day, and that's what they were talking about. It's like, one, being the best version of yourself, but also reaching your full potential. And I think we've all been programmed to just settle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've all been programmed to, we get to a certain point and we get comfortable with where we're at because we can do certain things in life that we weren't able to do. I mean, I'm farther ahead than where I was 5 years ago, but I'm not as far as I could be.
But that goes for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think though it's conversations like these that will do what Sean Mike says, which is question. What's he say? How does he say? Question your reality, I think is what he says. Because the reality of it is you can do more. You can help more people. Speaking a bit more correctly. Whether it's personally or more importantly as an agency, we all can do more. And I think it's so easy to just get in our head and our lane and say, well, I'm doing, what I'm doing and I'm satisfied, or become complacent, or become discouraged because we haven't gotten to where we want to be. But knowing that, the sky is truly the limit with this opportunity, as far as what we can do for ourselves and how many people we can help. And I've always felt by default, the fact that we've been exposed to this opportunity, it's almost a calling for us to maximize the opportunity and not take it for granted, but take full advantage of it. Would you agree?
Being content can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you're hurting yourself and you're hurting your family, you're hurting your agency. You're hurting them all. So it's not, now, where I am at right now in my life, this is where God wants me to be at this point in time. But Scripture tells us that he wants us to prosper, that as our soul shall prosper. And so we should want to prosper financially, spiritually. And I've been prospering very well. But and I'm happy to see other people succeed.
Yeah.
Leticia.
I said it. Yeah.
I love to see her up on stage with her red jacket. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for you, Amy. I'm happy for her. But if they can do it, we can do it too.
Yeah.
I love them to death, but you guys are no different than what I am or you are or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So we're all human beings. God made us. We need to go out and strive to be better every day.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that phrase. Life is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift back to him.
That's right.
And it's like taking what you have in this life and being able to maximize it. I think that's so crucial, and being able to have a vehicle like this that we can. So
I want to get to and I told my wife this. I want to tithe to my church more every week. I want it to grow.
Yeah.
every single week. I want to get to the point that I can write $100,000 check to my church,
Not even worry about it.
not even worry about it. Because if that's just 10%, bro, let's think about that for a
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Am I right, Shane?
Yeah.
That's right. But if we could just get into that
Yeah. well,
mindset.
Yeah, and it's thinking differently. It's thinking outside the box. We're so and me. I'll just speak for myself. It's so easy, just me, and you got to get yourself out of that mindset and be thinking of what you could do for others. Because by default, when you're thinking about what you could do for others, you end up doing more for yourself.
That's right.
It's so reciprocal.
Mhm.
It's such a blessing. That's life in general, but especially in this business. So. Well, let's give the people some of what they've been looking for, because I know somebody's, on the Zoom or in the room saying, man, he ain't talking about phone script, he ain't talking about in home. We talk about leads, buy a lot of them. But what I want more of, though, is the mindset, because phone script, I like, we had a training call on Monday and with Stephen Yee, and he broke down like the 4 parts of the phone script. And it's straightforward. You just call and book an appointment. But I think what's important is your mindset around what you're doing, and when you pick up the phone, what you're telling yourself that you're doing and why you're doing it. So what is that for you when it comes to dialing and booking appointments for clients? What's your mindset surrounding that?
Well, I mean, whatever I can do for the client, I'm very, sometimes I can be too competitive. I get upset when they start arguing back with me. I didn't do that. I'm like, yes, you did. I've got it right here. I mean, especially the handwritten documents. That gets even worse when I know. I'm like, and I actually sent a copy of a form to this lady that hung up on me and said she did not do it. 30 minutes later, she called me back. She said, I totally forgot about that. I owe you an apology.
Wow.
And I booked the appointment and went out and sold her.
Wow.
But you cannot get your emotions out of control to the point that you are hurting yourself, your testimony, and your client, because you're there to help. And how are they going to accept you if y'all get into an argument back and forth? I mean, if you hang up, so be it. Go on to the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a stack of leads. Don't spend all your time on one lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you may be able to get that same lead next week, dial them back. She may be in a better mood. I mean, Who knows? She may have had an argument with her husband or her dog or who else.
Yeah, that is true. You never know what's going on in the background. They'll be the nicest person next time you call them. Good.
Or they're bipolar.
Yeah, I have had that. And I've written the policy. I'm like, ooh, I wonder who's I'm writing this policy for. Which one is it?
Exactly.
Got to prove Transamerica for
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, so that's the mindset when you're on the phone. And then how about in-home? Talk to us a little bit about that, or any tips you have for in-home, because you sold a ton of insurance.
The biggest thing with in-home is try to be confident in everything you do, but also new agents, do not be afraid to say, I'm new. I don't have all the answers, but I know people who do. I've got a product specialist. I've got a upline that I can call that can help me out. So if I don't have the answer, if you ask me a question, and I'll promise you, if you go with a humble attitude towards them in that manner, you will sell a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And what's your structure like? If you're,
Okay.
how do you set up the structure? So go ahead.
Very good. I look for some sort of common bond when I am, as soon as I pull up, depending on if they're a football fan, if they like antiques, if they've got certain things, what type of car, if they're if they've got a certain tags or whatever it is. I walk into the house after I knock on it, walk in, I look around the house. I just introduce myself. I'm Darrell Broadway. I'm here to help you with your mortgage protection or final expense or something like that. And then we say, hey, I saw that car out front, or, I mean, we talk about a few things, or if they're military background, my heart really goes out to our military veterans. We talk about that for a few minutes, and I only spend maybe a minute or two on that. I don't spend a lot of time. So I structure it that way. Then I say, let's go have a seat at the table. So what am I doing? I'm laid back, but I'm also taking charge.
Yeah.
I'm said, let's go sit down at the table. I don't want to sit at the sofa. I've actually had to move stuff off the table just to sit at the table. Or push cats out of the way. I mean, I left the house one time before with hair all over me. I had more hair on my clothes than I did on my head. And so I've done that.
Queen is like, man, I'm glad I'm only doing television.
But then we get into the point of, why did you fill it out? I want to know why. And if I can't get a good answer from them why, then I'll go into, so I'm assuming the reason why you did this, you want to put the burden back on the insurance company than your family, right? And they'll say, yes. So I bring it, I don't come across demanding, forceful. I come across as a friend. And when we talk prices or talk anything like that, I don't say price, I'll say plan.
Makes sense. I like that.
Something's going to fit in your budget. I say key words that's going to help out. I go through the client worksheet. That worksheet is the most important thing that we could ever have. Ever who came up with it, God bless them.
Yeah.
It's my roadmap. And I think it's Linda LaPasso that may have done it. That's been a blessing. Even on the mortgage protection sheet, if they're renting a house or if they're in a regular house, I even asked them, how much is your rent? I want to know how much they're renting, because it really affects their budget. Then I get into the medical. Do you have any pre-existing conditions? I used to go through the thing, do this,
Oh, yeah,
and I'm like,
the Mike Strodes.
Yeah.
That's what I call that.
I stopped doing that. I did. That was taking too much time. And then I just broke it out very simple and said, listen, do you have any pre-existing conditions? And what do you mean? I'm like, have you had a heart attack, stroke? Are you COPD? I mean, are you crazy? I mean, I just ask. I mean, you don't know until you ask.
Have you ever gotten a yes on that one?
Yes. I've got multiple personalities. I'm like, okay, so which one am I talking to now? And so I try to have fun with them.
Yeah.
I do. I have fun. Even the ones that is crazy. I mean, I have fun with them. I'm like, and then we go down, I'm like, well, let me see what I can do here. And I may go to my grid sheet to try to find out the best plan. And if I'm stumped and I don't know what to do, I've called Jeremy before, I've called other people. I've even knew the answer, but I knew they wasn't engaging.
That's a good tip. Go ahead.
I knew they was not engaging. I called another agent and said, listen, this is one of my managers. And I told him up front, it was John. I said, hey, John, I've got you on speakerphone. Always say that.
Yeah.
Always say that. I had one girl that did not tell me that. It wasn't pretty. Wasn't pretty. She told me what was going on, and I said, they're lying to you. And I said, pack your bags and get out now, because they're not telling you the whole truth. And she said, Darrell, you're on speakerphone. I'm like, well, I'm sorry if the truth hurts, because they're not being truthful to you.
But tell if when you call, let them know if you put them on speaker.
Yes. Well, and this lady, somebody wrote up a bad policy for them. It was a Mutual of Omaha. She smoked. They put down non-smoker. COPD, they put down doesn't have COPD. And I'm like, dear, this is not going to pay out if you died with, especially within the first 2 years.
Yeah.
It's not going to pay out. And buddy, she got mad. And so I got him on the phone, which I already knew the answer. She wasn't engaged. And I said, John, this is what I've encountered. This, told her everything. Darrell, that policy is not going to pay out, which I already knew that answer.
Yeah.
In sales, that's called a TO.
Yeah.
A turnover, basically. And you already know the answer, but getting someone else's perspective without even explaining all the details, then they reiterate what you've already said, then that gets them back engaged into the conversation. I turned around and sold her.
That's good.
I had to go back to Dylan Cunningham with Mutual of Omaha, explain the situation to him. We got that policy backed out. I turned around and redid it because she wanted to stay with Mutual. I'm like, well, it's going to go to a graded policy.
Yeah.
And she said, that's fine. I want it done right. And so we wrote her and done it the right way.
That's a good
And
tip. That third party validation is what I call that.
Yes.
And I use that to close a lot of business.
Yes.
When I first got started, and I don't see enough agents taking advantage of
No.
that. I'll get calls like, yeah, you know, I had 3 appointments today. I'm like, oh, because this is the first time I'm hearing from you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't sell anything. Well, no wonder you didn't call.
Well, and let me throw this out. And this is what I'm telling all my agents also. When you call and we tell you what plan to go to, and they said, no, I can't afford none of that. And they pack up and leave. And then they call me. I'm like, are you in the home? No, I'm not. Don't ever leave that home until you call me.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, what you do, call me still in the home. And because we can revalidate.
Yeah.
I've actually told my agents, put me on speakerphone, I'm gonna help you sell it. And I've actually helped them sell it over the phone, and they turned around and wrote it up.
Yeah.
But if you call me after you leave the house, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah. Oh, it's true.
The deal's done.
Yeah. Can't get back in there.
And I have called my upline in my younger days 3, 4, 5 different times while I was in the home. Like, well, this is their question. Okay, we do this. Then I call them back, another objection. So every time they give you objections, if you don't know what to do, call your upline.
Call for help.
I don't know the answer, but I've got a product specialist who knows what to do.
That's crucial.
By doing that, you're giving yourself more credibility.
Yes.
The client's going to respect you a lot more than, hey, this guy's going to, or this gal's going to call their upline. That gives you more credibility in the home than 99% of the time.
Yeah, increases credibility for those of you on Zoom.
Mhm.
But that's a powerful tip. So I don't know if there's any questions in the Zoom or in the room before we put a wrap on this thing with Darrell. Anything else you want to share? I mean, you got a lot of experience over the last
I'm
2
still
years,
learning.
3 years. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still learning.
It's funny because it's like you know so much, but some of it you just do it automatically. Like somebody asked me a question the other day. I'm like, man, I'd forgotten I knew about that.
Yeah.
Because you just do it, and when you're failing fast, failing successfully, as we talked about, it's like certain things that may be a challenge to a new agent. It's not even a challenge anymore because you've just gone through it, you've overcome it. So that's why it's important to ask questions, because we can all learn from each other. And I like to tell everybody, this is a collaborative effort. We're all independent business owners working together to help each other win.
And I think it's repetition.
That's true.
Shane loves to play golf.
Yeah.
Right? Used to. You used to play or just love to play. So, football players, sports, you know why they go out and practice? So they can get their muscle memory going on. And so then all of a sudden when game is on, it's instinct. So when you're practicing this, when we have these offices like this, Jermaine's got this office for you guys, you're in practice mode right now to get you ready for in-home. And you constantly are working to get yourself better.
Yeah.
And once you get to that point, it's almost like, okay, this is the objective. This is what I'm going to say. Well, it's too expensive, or I can't fit it with my budget, or I don't know if I could get it approved. Those objections you should automatically know ways of overcoming it.
Yeah.
And there's ways to do it. I mean, you know, you can't afford not to take this. You don't have nothing. Who, does your family have an extra $10,000-$15,000 to bury you? No, they don't. I mean, so there's all sorts of things. I'll shut up and see if
We got one question on here, and no, but that's a very great point. And you're either looking at this, at least this is how I approach it. I'm either looking at what I can add into my repertoire, my ammunition as a producer, or what I need to add into my ammunition as a manager. You know, what things can I say differently to my agents, the way that you communicate them to help them better understand something that's going to get them moving, or what things can I apply to help me move in a certain direction. So there's always a learning opportunity in these types of conversations. So if you're wanting to grow, of course, how do you balance building your agency and producing consistently at a high level? What click, Cam is trying to be the new Jermaine. What click to click for you to start? Well, let's start with that first
Yeah.
one. So how do you balance building an agency and producing it at a high level?
Yeah, that's not a bad person to be, Jermaine Cliff.
No.
Don't mind that.
You've got a good mentor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I would say on that first question is, Cameron, how much business are you doing right now?
As far as annual, weekly, annual premium,
Monthly.
Monthly. Sorry, I got a little static here.
Monthly, yeah, he's
Yes,
asking
monthly.
Oh yeah, average monthly, I'd say I'd write right now between 10 and 15,000 a month.
Okay, all right. So you're fairly new and you're building it, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so what you're gonna have to do right now, you need to be hiring right now. Now,
Okay.
you need to structure a time through your week. So if you get a no-show, work on trying to hire people, call people, dial people to get during that time to try to hire agents into the business.
Okay.
Also, if you get a no-show or anything like that while in the field, then you want to work on trying to set up, maybe if you've got some open spots for the next day, do some more dialing for the next day to get
Okay.
that in place. Also, if you can get all your appointments in place, make sure you are, now, Cameron, you're the one that's coming in early, you're dialing early, right?
Yes, sir. 8 o'clock. Mhm.
Perfect. Now, do you start dialing at 8 or when do you show up? At 8 or 7:30 or what?
I'm usually here right about 8 o'clock. I like to get rolling about 8 a.m., 8:05, maybe some days 8:10, but right around 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm here and dialing.
Why not start dialing at 10 minutes to 8?
That's a good idea. Apparently in Florida, because I'm in Orlando, and apparently they like us to wait until 8 a.m. to start dialing for some reason.
Or something like that.
But
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Okay,
yeah.
but are you, do you have everything prepared when you start dialing at 8 a.m.?
I do. I'll buy my leads at night. If I don't buy them at night, I'll wake up pretty early in the morning. I'll get up about at least by 6 a.m., 6:30.
Okay,
I'll have everything ready to go and have it all loaded up in my PDF or printed out, and then I'll drive to the office with it already kind of set up for me.
try your best to start dialing. If the state laws is 8 a.m., start dialing at 8 a.m. Don't wait till 8:05, 8:10,
Get it?
because
Yeah.
you're missing opportunities.
Okay.
That 5
Yeah.
minutes or 10 minutes could
Yeah.
cost you 2 or 3 appointments.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And
so
I thought maybe I could even slide in, like you said, like a 7:50. I mean, it's just 10 minutes of leeway, but it's just getting off to a better start, right? If I can just get there either like right on 8 or maybe a little before 8 and just get it
get as
going.
many appointments as you can, and if you could get your appointments done by 1, 2,
Yeah.
3 o'clock, and you get your 15 appointments for 2 days, then you
Yeah.
got the afternoon that you can work on building your business.
Right.
Push to get your appointments in, but
Yeah.
you've got, when you're building and running business, you've got to stay structurally sound
Okay.
and stay on course.
Yeah. Okay, awesome,
And then,
awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
second part of his question, I'll summarize it is, well, I think you tied into that because he's asking, how do you consistently book 30 appointments a week? And then how are you empowering your agents to do the same thing? So what would your answer be to that?
Try to get to know your agents from a personal level. I think because you can talk to them. There's some agents that I can be blunt to. It's like, you're not working.
Yeah.
I mean, then there's other agents I can't say that to. So the more you get to know your agents, you will learn how to talk to them. And there's tactful ways of doing it. And Jeremy's trying to help me tactfully say certain things. And so he said, well, you can say this better because I have a tendency to be very blunt and that could hurt people. And I don't want to hurt nobody by any means, but I want to help people and I want to encourage them. First of all, I want to see how much they're motivated. If you can't motivate yourself, I can't motivate you. If you don't have the inner drive within yourself, I can't do it for you. I can show you how to do it, but I can't do it for you. I can encourage you, give you the steps, what to do, but you've got to have that inner drive. And if you can't see these numbers, like I know you guys may not be able to see it, but I mean, you got Leticia doing over 20,000 and we're just in the weekend. That should be motivation enough right there. I mean, you've got Christian already over 5,000, Prince over 6,000. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. And so if they can do it, you can do it. Their leads are no different than your leads.
You just have enough of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did that help, Cameron?
Oh, that did. That was tremendous. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Was there more to the question?
No, I think that was about it.
But okay.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
So,
Thank
good
you.
stuff, guys. Well,
That's Jermaine Jr. right there.
I'll take it.
Yes, sir.
Just to get your perspective on this. When we are looking at the cost of doing business or buying leads, we always have a very short time. We'll look at it, I spend this amount, and I'm expecting this on a weekly basis. How do you look at it yourself overall in both the leads and also in recruiting new agents and training?
I always try to do the 15 to 2,500 a week in my lead, because if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of nobody else. Okay. If I'm giving all my leads away, I can't take care of myself. Then if I'm starving, I can't help feed you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yes. So when prospectively, I have to keep my cash flow going. Then I look at a certain amount of budget to set aside, probably another 20% set aside for hiring, things like that. Then of course you've got to set aside probably another 20% for taxes and things like that. So, but I'm to the point now. In the very beginning, you talked about analytical about certain things. Don't be so analytical about things. Just go do it. Just go do it, because I promise you, if you buy those leads and you go run those leads, you're gonna make money. Yeah. You will. Now, I've never seen nobody buy $2,000 worth of leads and lay them on the table and say, all right, go make me money. It doesn't work that way.
Gotta work it.
You gotta work it.
Yeah.
You gotta work it.
And you work your way up to that too. For those that are new, it's like,
Sure.
You start at 500. The minimum amount you should be spending on leads is 500 a week.
Oh, yeah.
And then you work your way up as you start making money, and understanding that, that's got to be the priority, not the new Gucci, Prada, whatever, Balenciaga, whatever. It's got to be build this business up, and then
you got to sacrifice. I mean,
Yeah.
You got to sacrifice. You're not looking. It's like all of a sudden the biggest problem with newer agents is that they'll get $10,000, $20,000 in the bank. And next thing you know, they're on vacation.
Yeah.
And their money's gone. Then they come back and they've got a bunch of chargebacks. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Well, first of all, you shouldn't have went on vacation. So you are a business owner. And you've got to take that money and reinvest back into your business. And once you keep reinvesting, the next thing you know, that your cash account is going to keep growing as you keep reinvesting and making it grow. And then you're going to be able to spread out like, all right, now I need an admin. Now I need a recruiter. Now I need this. And now your business is starting to blossom. And you're starting to see things like that. But there's ways to, I mean, you can recruit without spending a dollar.
Yep.
Tell your neighbor, your warm market. And Mike Killiman has always said this, I mean, you can't hide money. People will know that you've got some money.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying in a boastful way. It just seems like when you've got money, the way you walk, the way you talk is a little bit more confident. I've
Peace of
been,
mind.
huh?
I said peace of mind. about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I mean, I can look at Jermaine. He's probably got about $100,000 to the bank, and I mean, he's doing really good.
That's it?
But see, you're spending it all on building your business.
Oh,
Yeah, that's your play money.
yeah, that's it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I heard rule of thumb is 30% charge back. Is that probably just plan for that, make sure you get enough cash?
As a new agent, you're probably going to be a little bit high, about 30%. But as you really get better, that chargeback is going to come down, and you're going to be around the 20%.
yeah, 15 to 20%.
Yeah.
Get back.
That's just a rule of thumb.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Forwards 20%.
Yes.
And I think one of the things too that we don't talk about with chargebacks is, a lot of times it's a partial chargeback. It's not like the entire
Correct.
9 months, right? So a lot of times agents, like I had one guy, which is fine with me because I let people be where they're at, but he's like, yeah, no, I didn't know that's how chargebacks work. I'm not wanting to do that because of the chargebacks. I'm like, perfect. Save me a bunch of time, save yourself a bunch of time. But when you look at, excuse me, it's a part of that.
Part of the business.
Part of the business, and then it's a part of the commission that you get. It's not like the entire amount.
Walmart, Dollar General
Oh,
Store,
yeah, everybody has
all
returns.
that, they look at theft.
Yeah.
It's not the full amount typically.
No,
It all depends on when they charge back.
Yeah.
How many payments they make?
yeah, because you only get paid for 9 months, and so it's at what point do they charge back?
They cancel 3 months in.
Yeah.
They get charged for 6 months.
Correct.
Yeah. So
So it's on a 9-month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you get your 9-month advancement.
so for example, if they cancel 6 months in, it's only a 3-month premium that's due back.
Right.
But yeah, it is a part of the business, and I want people because I mentioned this before at a training. The Dan Caffey, the CEO of Chick-fil-A, somebody was like, "Hey, I hear if you get a Chick-fil-A, you're pretty much, as an owner operator, you're pretty much guaranteed $500,000 plus in income." And he's like, "No, that's not correct. There's no guarantee. This is entrepreneurship."
That's right.
And so I want to work with individuals that understand that. And I started saying that on my recruiting calls, like, yeah, hey, the only thing we're going to guarantee you is an opportunity. What you do with it is up to you. We're going to support you. We're going to work hard with you as long as you're willing to work hard. But, what you get out of it is what
That's
you
true.
put in and what you extract from it. And we're here to help you do that. So, and you should want to work with people that have that mindset. That's the people I want to work with. Because then you're going to put in the effort it takes to get what you want out of the opportunity, and you can't play the blame game when you didn't put in the effort
That's
to get
right.
what you want, out of the opportunity. So,
Yep.
But yeah. Last question, if anybody has one. I know we ran over a little bit. No. All right, guys. Well, appreciate it. Do we have any events coming up, Liz? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Monday. Every Monday, actually, guys. So speaking about recruiting, which we probably should meet you and Jeremy. If Jeremy has time, we could go knock out a podcast real quick. But every Monday here in the office, we have our business development. This Monday, it's going to be at 7 p.m. We've had it at 6. We were pushing it back an hour to see if we could get more people here on time because we've had a few people show up late. And Terry is gonna be the host with the most this Monday. Hall of Fame producer, vice president, started Family First Life. Yeah, he's been here since the start. He's gonna be the one hosting the meeting here. So make sure we're promoting that. We're getting a graphic completed. We could shoot it out to everybody and let's just pack the house. There's a lot of people here in Atlanta. There's no reason why there shouldn't be 40 people in this room right now. And definitely. Well, I'm gonna shoot it to the managers and then the managers can disperse it. So, but yeah, that's the next major event. So make sure that you guys are promoting that through social media. And one of the things we're doing, James Johnson over there, JJ, gave the idea of everybody creating an Eventbrite. So, you know, maybe for your city, and then if we all cover our cities, then that event will get out to, you know, the entire metro Atlanta area, so we can start packing the house and exposing a lot of people to this opportunity. So, I mean, if you're not here in Atlanta, do it too. We'll get it out to the WhatsApp group. So appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that was good stuff, man.
Oh,
Thanks, Shanae. Thanks, Darrell.
Yeah.
thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.